afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this capstone presentation. My name is Aimi Kanai. Today, I have the pleasure of sharing with you about the very important topic, the most effective ways of improving Japanese students' English pronunciation in junior high school. The reason why I chose this topic is because I want to be an English teacher in Japan after finishing study TESOL at APU. I'm really interested in teaching pronunciation, and I want to improve Japanese students' English pronunciation. Probably some of you are thinking that, oh, don't be so serious. We don't care about pronunciation. You're okay, you can just talk and enjoy conversation. However, actually, people do care about pronunciation. Let me ask one question. You don't need to raise your hands, but how many of you judged people based on their appearance, such as face or clothes or how they stand or how they sit? Consciously or unconsciously, people categorize people based on their appearance. So what about pronunciation, speech, how they speak? There is an experience that about how people react accented English pronunciation. In graduate school of Michigan State University, student and professor was observed and the experiment revealed an interesting result. Once the international professor talk in the class in the first class and exhibit some accent, some of the students said, "Uh-oh," and they dropped the class. Although the pronunciation has nothing to do with the contents of the class, his pronunciation negatively affected the students' perspectives. People judge you by your pronunciation. Smith said that people with an accent are judged as less intelligent, less competent, less educated, having poor English language skills, and as generally unpleasant to listen to. So, people do not have to speak perfect English. However, as we can see in the quote and the experiment, accented English can result in these negative expression. So it is important for English teachers to train their students so that they can avoid these consequences. So I would like to suggest 3 solutions to improve Japanese students' English pronunciation. First, teach pronunciation without using katakana. Second, teach segmental and suprasegmental aspects equally. Third, conduct personal pronunciation trainings. So let's move on to my first recommendation. Teach pronunciation without using katakana. So what is katakana? There are 3 different types of writing system in Japanese language: hiragana, Chinese character, and katakana. So there are 46 katakana letters, and katakana is used for long words. For example, when people write McDonald's hamburger in Japanese, they write down like this: McDonald's hamburger. So if you go to Japan, you can see the katakana letters in the McDonald's shop. And also, other example is potato chip chocolate. When Japanese people write down the word in katakana, it's going to be potato chip chocolate. So the sounds pronunciation sounds kind of similar but different. So when teachers, no, when students couldn't catch the pronunciation, they asked their professor, their teacher, oh, could you say it in katakana or can you write down the pronunciation in katakana? It's very common. But that teaching method is not good because there are some significant differences between Japanese language and English language. For example, there are 5 vowel sounds and 13 consonant sounds in Japanese, while there are 14 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds in English. So it is obvious that Japanese writing system, katakana, cannot express all English sounds. Also, because there are no most of sound in Japanese consonant sounds are followed by vowel sound. So we don't have K or S. We have kakiku, keko, sashisuze. So we always add vowel after consonant. So this significant difference, the teachers should consider about the differences. So when teachers write down fan and fan in katakana, they are both like this, fan, because they don't have F sound and A sound is same A sound, so fan and fan became fan in katakana sound. So my first suggestion is do not use katakana. As we can see in this code, when teachers use katakana, students do not recognize that they have to pronounce the sound different ways. However, some people may say that those some students they cannot read English alphabet. So in that case, they need katakana letters to participate in pronunciation practice. That may be true. However, that teaching method is negatively influenced in the long run. So if teacher continues to use katakana, the students always need and always want to translate the English sounds into Japanese sounds. And also, it leads to misspellings. Dalton 2008 mentioned that the adaptation of English words to the Japanese sound system creates obvious disharmony, both orthographically and phonetically. Such discrepancies between native and American forms greatly inhibit or even preclude language transfer. So because katakana letters is not suitable for expressing English sound, so teachers shouldn't use katakana. Now let's move on to my second recommendation. Teach both segmental and suprasegmental aspects equally. So segmental phonemes means individual sounds such as consonants and vowels. Suprasegmental aspects means features of speech such as stress, rhythm, and intonation. For example, when you say, "What is your name?" focusing on individual sounds, the pronunciation is going to be, "What is your name? What is your name?" However, the native speakers of English do not usually pronounce that way. They link the words and talk more natural flow, like "What's your name? What's your name?" So if it is important for teachers to teach both segmental and suprasegmental aspects equally. How if teachers teach both aspects equally, as we can see in this Brahman's quote, listeners can understand the speaker's talking speech more easily. However, some people may argue that teaching suprasegmental aspects are too complicated and time-consuming. Noguchi said that the rhythm of spoken English is determined by the contrast between strong and weak syllables, and this dynamic contrast is one of the most challenging aspects in English sounds that Japanese learners have been struggling in acquiring. So this is one of the reasons why English teachers focus on segmental aspects. However, teaching suprasegmental aspects are really important because suprasegmental aspects are more influential to intelligibility. Even heavily accented speech is sometimes unintelligible, and even though the speaker mispronounced the certain consonants or vowel sounds, the listeners can still understand what they are talking thanks to the intonation or rhythm. So, English teachers should teach both segmental and suprasegmental aspects equally. Now let's move on to my third solution. Introduce personal training. Because pronunciation requires motor skills, so students need to actually practice it, move their mouth, just like baseball. So just sit on the chair and listen the lecture of how to hit the ball doesn't mean someone can be able to hit the ball. You have to actually practice to hit the ball. Likewise, pronunciation needs actual practice. As we can see in the Noguchi's quote, students need to get used to the English style pronunciation. And they need to get used to how to move their tongues, lips, and vocal cords in different ways. However, some people may point it out that some students they don't want to practice it, even though teachers take time to practice and repeat that, but they don't want to practice it because they are shy or they are afraid of failure. Hiraksani and Ahmadi said that some learners feel uncomfortable trying out new speech, rhythm, and melody patterns, while others feel stupid pronouncing weird sounds, and with time they decide that it is futile and impossible to learn English pronunciation. So, because of students' personalities and motivations, it's hard, even though teachers take time for actual practice, it's hard to for some students they don't want to practice it. That may be true. However, personal training provides good environment to practice pronunciation even though the students are shy or they are afraid of failures. Personal training lowers students' students individually after group lesson and found out that students are very receptive to help and correction from the teacher. In this situation, individual lesson where they need not fear losing face in front of their compensators. So, as we can see in this quote, personal trainings provide more comfortable environment for students, and teachers can give students detailed feedback. So, English teachers should provide personal training. Okay, so now we are look at my first my three suggestions to improve Japanese students' English pronunciation. First, teach pronunciation without using katakana. Second, teach both segmental and suprasegmental aspects equally. Third, conduct personal pronunciation training. If English teachers apply this teaching practice, Japanese students can improve their pronunciation more effectively. This is my references. Thank you so much for listening. If you have questions, please feel free to ask me. Maybe Professor Kim.
I've got one, but I want to give a chance for anybody else who might have it.
Maybe Ruth. Well, I see.
Well, I have a question. In reality, how many hours should professors or teachers put for teaching pronunciations in Japan?
The current situation. I'm not sure how many minutes, how many time, because it's not okay. Now let's practice pronunciation. Not like that, but
If someone say, if the professor teach too much on the pronunciation, that will occupy the grammar or listening or writing skills time. How can you? What solution do you have?
I would suggest that combine the I would say they can combine when they teach grammar, they can also practice pronunciation. So when students read the sentence, and if the pronunciation is not good, professor or teacher can make correction. Thank you for asking.